Dearest, beloved, divine friends and family, brothers and sisters in Guyana, the diaspora, brothers and sisters around the world, RKs Guyana Free Media in the raw. Reading directly and commenting directly, first of all, to remind you, please, it's my duty as a Guyanese, remind everybody, and a citizen of the world, move your rings, sanitize your hands and all exposed by the body, don't take chances. Remember to wear your mask in the proper manner. Do not put it down to your throat, do not put it to your head, because you could pull the virus into your mouth. And I also think the authorities need to be more proactive and start arresting people at inconvenience and locking them up. Maybe every area should have a stockade, like how you have a pond, and that you're keeping cows and donkeys and horses, pigs. Maybe we need to do some of that to human beings, because if people are not listening of the danger of this thing here, this COVID-19, then they need to be treated like animals. The thing about it, they seem to say they can't breathe when they put this on, which is totally ridiculous. And if you feel a bit hot or choked, you go in a corner somewhere alone. You put it on back. Because trust me, with all the ventilators in your body, and your face, and your head, and your nose, and your throat, and the chances of dying with the ventilator, and filth in your underpants, and urine, and not able to eat food for weeks, and everything all over the place, most likely to die. Friends and families, you all better start wearing your masks. Social distancing, wearing your mask, keeping far away, and everyone should go and do a test. Today, hopefully, I'm also hoping to go and do a test. Because I'm not taking chances. I have grandchildren, I have children, and so on, and my entire company, we are very serious about COVID-19. Anybody comes in this compound and take off their mask, they are expelled immediately. Okay, friends and families, RKs Guyana Free Media, today, the 20th of August 2020, and we are well over the 160 episodes. I wish to make some general remarks as to what is happening, a reality on the headline of various newspapers, particularly the Kaiture News, the top-selling newspaper in Guyana, but also there are other good articles in other newspapers as well, friends and family. First, I wish to say a very special thank you to the government of India for providing $1 million in equipment and funds to help us in our COVID-19 fight. This is what India is all about. India is always about giving. You never hear anyone giving anything to India, but it does always giving, even though it itself is a third world country. It gives so much to the Pacific Islands, in the Pacific Ocean. It gives so much to countries like Philippines and Vietnam and Taiwan and other countries, Thailand, in the Far East. Ladies and gentlemen, it's amazing. Indonesia, it gives so much to Africa that it boggles the human comprehension. The amount of courses in medicine and so on. And in Guyana, so much of courses India give to Guyanese, which is enjoyed more by other ethnicities than Indo-Guyanese. They do not care about what race or religion, they care about serving. So to the Indian High Commissioner, Srinivasa, to the President, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, Honorable Prime Minister, thank you, and the President of India, thank you for your contributions to Guyana, the third world countries, the countries around the world. Truly a nation of peace, truly a nation of harmony, never in history known to ever target or attack another nation. Though it is always under attack by many, many countries and nations trying to undermine it, especially its closest neighbor. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be dealing with an article. What Exxon is doing with Payara is what it did to Trotman in 2016. Well, I will be reading that article by Christopher Ram, attorney at law, famous chartered accountant, patriot of the land, journalist and commentator. Great gentleman, we will talk about dealing with this article shortly. But the front page of the 19th August, today's the 20th, but 19th of August, Kaiture News is saying, now is the time for unity towards the common good. I agree with that, in that I'm going to give you a reading. The elections are over. As with any elections, there were winners and there were losers. It is time for our politicians, the victors and the vanquished, those who have won and those who have lost. The victors and the vanquished to set aside their differences and their bitterness and to unite to ensure a better life for our people. Absolutely. It's not time to seek vengeance, but at the same time, those who have committed crimes in trying to destroy the leaders of the PPPC with fake charges, and those who have wasted our monies and made poor investments and given our lands and our titles and all of our wealth to friends and families, need to be dealt with according to law. But back to the article. The oil companies must not find us in disunity. Precisely. These companies are notorious for lining the pockets of corrupt politicians and for promoting division, which is what is suspected, like what Exxon is saying with Payara. They're trying to do what they did to Trotman. And I'm not saying Trotman is corrupted. That is left to your intelligence to study what happened there. He didn't read the articles. He alone went to sign. He didn't read the articles of association or the contract or the agreement he signed, and then many other things, and his mode and attitude changed right after that, until the president took away the portfolio from him. Back to the article. Yeah, they're known for promoting division. While the people and politicians are fighting, these companies are free to plunder our wealth. So we need them to work, but I find it strange that the APNO AFC never tried to work with the PPPC. It is time our politicians stop fighting with each other and start fighting for the country. President Irfan Ali, Ambara Jack Dave, David Granger, and Joseph Harman, and their respective teams should put their heads and shoulders together and work to plug the loopholes, reduce excessive fiscal concessions, that is, spending money unnecessarily and giving too much of concessions, remove the confidentiality clauses, and renegotiate improved terms from foreign investors is not only the oil industry, but in bauxite, gold, diamond as well. Our natural resources are sufficient to guarantee everyone a superior standard of living. No Guyanese should be scratching a living. We should all be living on par with the citizens of the rich. I'm sort of feeling rather dry today, and remember, this is in the raw, ladies and gentlemen. We all should be living on par with the citizens of the rich oil producing states. We can only reach there if we all work together. I'll keep on saying, ladies and gentlemen, this is a front page editorial from the 19th, yesterday. We need to be living like Kuwait. We need to control our businesses, stop giving opportunity for people to open businesses, and like Kuwait, they bring in people to run their businesses for them from Bangladesh, India, certain parts of Africa and Europe, and they are like employees or subcontractors running the businesses. We in Guyana, Mr. President, listen to me carefully, give no permission for foreigners to come in and open commercial businesses like shops, stores, restaurants. It must go through a Guyanese and they can partner with them. We cannot allow foreigners to take all the opportunities and all the lands and all the titles here because they have the money. We have to ensure that our people have the opportunity to borrow, just as how the Chinese, and respectfully, are coming here to invest. They are getting grants and loans from the Chinese government to spread their wings around the world. Let us learn from them. Okay. Some general commentary that the mayor of the city of Georgetown and the newspaper of the 19th is saying that he wants an audit of City Hall's 2019 spending. There is some Obrajna Ryan getting some bad name and some flack for not wrongfully, but Mayor, His Worship Obrajna Ryan, very wrongfully, because the 300 million that City Hall was supposed to have had for the fixing and repairs and bringing up to standard the iconic City Hall building, that it was before his time. That was since 2016. You cannot ask him now, when he never received it, to account for it. But here the gentleman is asking for a special audit of City Hall's 2019. So we should say for 18 and 19, when he took City Hall and was started to become the mayor for all the time. But I can assure you that that money that you are questioning for the repairs and the fixings of City Hall was long before his time, friends and families. Ladies and gentlemen, if there has to be a criminal investigation, then we should have that. But don't blame the young man. Please, let us work with him, and Honorable Minister Nigel Dharamlal and the government of Guyana need to work with him. Right, we can be different political parties and so on and persuasion, but we can work together to enhance our city. This is our city. We don't want to show it's the government city. We don't want to show it as the PNC city or it's the mayor city. It's the city of all Guyanese. So we all must, to me, as an ambassador for peace, a lover of humanity, we must work together to bring about success in whatever field we have to develop our country. Now there's another article here in the same newspaper, Canadian citizen missing, and today it's been proved that he was murdered. He was murdered by the son of his maid, ladies and gentlemen. This is truly a horrific situation, that people are coming to Guyana, sometimes with money to fix their home and to retire, and they are murdering the people when they come. I had a case of my own uncle, we call him in Hindi, Mamu, my mother brother. He returned after many years, fixed his house, took in a maid, had little children and were taking care of them. And then eventually the children get big, and the mother, that's the maid, and the children started to behave and put into his head that there's Bakus, or Baku, some people say, but Bakus, and they're robbing him, they're hitting him, they're starving him, they're locking him in, and they're making him sell his property and put the money there so the Baku could get it. And all kinds of strange things are happening. Look at number 63 village, where a wonderful old man went to try to fix a hotel up, and him and his employee were murdered, obviously by people who were working there or people who are their relatives. Any foreigners who come into this country, don't show your wealth. Don't boast that you come to do this and you come to do that. And make sure you have adequate and proper protection and security. Because the people who are working with you, the individuals like that lady in Atlantic Gardens recently, people who are working with you, unless you're using a genuine proper contractor with their employees, they're going to rob you, they're going to kill you, they're going to kidnap you. I remember a man came in, married a youngish woman. The next thing you know, they found his head at number 63 village, his leg in Corriverton, and another leg somewhere else. Her and her children decapitated the man and murdered them. So you foreigners, this is not only happening in Guyana, all over the world. You have to be careful when you're coming. Don't splurge, don't show too much of money, and make sure you have proper protection when you come into the country. It is always people that know you, it is always your family, and sometimes close friends that set you up. Your own relatives, sometimes nephews, set up bandits to come and rob you. How do they know you come in? How do they know what you're coming with? Unless you told them you're coming with so much money. So you have to be very cautious on why you're coming with cash. Friends and families, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, you overseas people, please be careful with yourselves. Here is this article. I'm going to read the story to you. A maid and her son were arrested yesterday and are being questioned in connection with the disappearance of Canadian citizen Nicholas Jaipal, who was on vacation with his grandfather at number 69 village since January. But Nicholas Jaipal is a young man, but he was here with his grandfather. According to the grandfather, Ramkisun Jaipal and the maid in custody started working for him about a year ago and had previously lived in Brazil. He added that she never provided a solid address and he only knew her as Radha. Based on the little he knew about her, he said that she had stated that she had developed issues with her husband in Brazil and returned to Guyana. Nicholas Jaipal disappeared from the vacation home at 69 Village, always happening in the upper quarantine, ladies and gentlemen, between Sunday night and Monday morning. His grandfather told this publication that he received an anonymous call Monday afternoon from someone saying that they have his grandson. They both came to Guyana in January for vacation and were expected to return to Canada in May. However, because of the COVID-19 restrictions, they have been stuck here. But they could have traveled if they wanted to leave, because the Canadian government had arranged special flights for people to leave. This publication understands that a team from the Major Crime Unit was sent to Berbice to assist the detectives investigating the matter. But so I saw something in some other paper somewhere whereby that the son of the maid has admitted to murdering that boy. I can't remember which paper it is in, but I saw it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very painful and distressing thing. Back to the article. Now, look at this guy. Passenger's husband kills taxi driver over fare dispute. And now there's a wanted bulletin issued for him. He has escaped. He has become a wanted man. He will spend the rest of many years fighting this case, and he probably will get charged for manslaughter, if not murder, many years, all their monies, miseries in the family. You people, you Guyanese got to learn to control your temper. For a few cents or a few dollars of a taxi fare or a bus fare, you destroy your family, you destroy your home, and you take a man's life. Huh? So you have to be very careful. We have too much of temper going around. Too much of men drinking rum, coming home, food not ready, chopping their wives. We have a very serious sociological problem in our country. And me, yours truly, your brother, Haji Dr. Roshan Khan, I'm very worried. I'm very depressed. I'm very concerned about what's happening in our country. So he's finished. Now here is the other one. Ruthless cop shoots dog to enter the compound. He couldn't wait on the pregnant woman to open the gate. Can we imagine this, ladies and gentlemen? His photograph is in the papers of yesterday's 19th Kaiture and otherwise, the policeman. Right? Instead of waiting on a pregnant woman to open her gate, a police officer had shot her dog and entered her yard without explanation. The heinous shooting of the animal took place at around 13:48 hours on March 31st at the woman's Canefield East Bank Demerara home. According to the dog owner, Lakeisha Daniels, she was pregnant at the time and sitting in her veranda when a pickup filled with armed policemen pulled up in front of her home. Two of the ranks, one of them a corporal, she said, jumped out of the gate. Alerted by strange presence, her pit bull breed dog rushed to the gate and began barking at the man. The corporal shouted at the pregnant woman and instructed her to open up and let them in the yard. That is not how it works, as I am trained in police science. You're supposed to state your reason why you were there and that you have a warrant or you wish to speak to her on a matter. You don't shout and scream and behave and give the police a bad name. Obviously, the police don't train you to behave like that. But some of you seem to think you have too much authority and too much power when you carry a gun or you have the rank of a police, and you seem to forget that you are servants of the state. You're civil servants. You're being paid by the tax dollars of that same woman and people like ourselves. If they commit a crime, you have a right to arrest them. But there is a way to deal with criminals in a dignified and professional manner that will bring credit to police, to the Guyana police force, and to show maturity in our country. I don't want to read the entire article, so I just give you an idea of what's going on, but I want to tell you, some time ago, friends and families, ladies and gentlemen, in Canada when I was studying, that's a long years ago, I went in 1973, right? So 1973 I went to Canada and I studied 73, 74, 75, returning 76, police sciences. And a policeman came down for a lifetime of mockery, in every classroom for all the years he's been spoken of. Sometimes he's sitting in our class and everybody pointing to him. Something just like this. He needs to be charged, not only departmentally, but for cruelty to animals. And his life was not in a threat. In such a case, you could have understood. And he shot the dog. And there are laws governing animals. He needs to be prosecuted very seriously, departmentally and externally, as far as I'm concerned. Or somebody should come together, help the woman, a lawyer, especially a new lawyer, you new lawyers, fight the case pro bono. Bring a private criminal charge against the policeman if nobody's charging him for cruelty to animal. And even a civil suit for compensation for the lady's dog, which could be valued about $2 or $3 million for the amount of work they could do. I'm very disappointed. You police who are cruel, inarticulate, must understand that the citizens are your bosses. And you, like the government of the day and the opposition, you are their servants. Opposition and government of the day are servants of the people. Please don't forget that. Now, I'm telling you that story in Canada. The lady called the police department, 999, that's how it works overseas. Her cat was on top of a tree far up and she was afraid it would fall and die. So she called the police and the police came in very annoyed. A guy with a big tummy, uniform, very unruly. And she told him, look, my cat is on the tree, can you help me get it down? And he took out his gun and he shot the cat. Bam, bam, bam! And killed the cat. 3 times. Can you believe this? The same thing this man who is unworthy to be a policeman would do. It's totally ridiculous and wrong. We have observed also in previous newspaper, ladies and gentlemen, that there were some advertisements and there were some complaints that people are producing electricity, particularly a gentleman from Karivaton known as Chinese. They own many businesses in the country, and some people are questioning as well, but that is not my topic, that's not for me at the moment. But he has some huge wind farm which could produce electricity to his building and supply the government's grid. And they say he has no authority and no power. I wrote an article in the newspaper, and I'm saying, I bet you if the Chinese come in, or the American or the Europeans or the Norwegians or somebody, and they want to set up a wind farm, they will get permission. Here is a man who went ahead, set it up for his own cinema, his hotel, his mills, sawmill and rice mill maybe also, I don't know about a rice mill. And what happened? He's not getting approval to even use it for himself. So I'm wondering, the APNO AFC government, I was giving them blows. And then you have Giftland producing a tremendous amount of power that they can sell into the grid to help Guyana for the time being until we have our hydro or until we have our gas-powered systems set up with our gas that is being burnt into the atmosphere and endangering our environment, friends and families. But here I'm seeing something very good and very beautiful. I'm seeing Prime Minister Mark Phillips with Minister Indar during the meeting with the senior management of GPL. What are they doing? They are looking to buy 25 megawatts to stop blackouts from private enterprises. Beautiful. This is wonderful, good news. The PPPC government are doing the right thing. They're showing themselves up and they're moving with alacrity and true professionalism to bring joy and happiness into this land of Guyana. They're saying the Guyana Power and Light Inc. GPL has announced that they will be issuing expressions of interest to source an additional 25 megawatts of electricity from private entities in effort to meet the increased demand to Guyana power grid. This is the same paper of August 19, Kaiture News, ladies and gentlemen. Prime Minister Mark Phillips and Junior Public Works Minister David Inda yesterday met with the Chief Executive Officer of the power company to devise solutions aimed at curbing the outages plaguing the country for the weeks. In the short term, the PM said one of the most important concerns for the people of Guyana right now is having reliable electricity and a reduction or zero power outages. It is for this reason the PM told reporters that he's instructed the agency to immediately issue the EOI, interest of expression or expression of interest, to source the additional power that is needed from the private suppliers. Friends and families, I don't need to read through the entire article. That is very good news, wonderful news indeed. We saw also that some raids were made at the Lusignan prison, and Lusignan prison seemed to be a hellhole of a prison, when all kinds of knives were found, all kinds of makeshift weapons in the prison. This is happening, ladies and gentlemen, mostly because the prison does not have enough work to keep these guys busy. You have to remember, when a man goes to prison, he is in jail. He has lost some of his human rights of freedom, and he becomes the ward of the state. He has to produce for his food and his upkeep, and could work in certain institutions that could be created to make uniforms and clothes and socks, as is done in China and I mean to understand in India, for themselves, and also to sell to the open market, make license plates and so on. Our license plates need to change. We need to have, like America, license plates every year, so they can make these things and they can get a pay, and some of that money goes for the upkeep, and some of that money goes for the child support, and some of that money could go also to compensate those who they have cheated and they have robbed and they owe. We need a new legal system to cater for all of these things. But more of that in a paper from me later on, beloved divine friends and families. I will end there and then do the Christopher article separate, because it's going a bit long here now. So your friend, your brother, on the 20th, dealing with the newspaper of Wednesday, August 19th. We must also quickly mention Sharma's Justice for All party says membership in coalition under review. But it will seem that they were sent off because they could not produce enough votes to produce a seat in order to have a seat in Parliament. But we wish them well. The Justice for All party, C.N. Sharma and his wife, who is a main member also and communicator for the Justice of All party, had critiqued the AFC, which is their party, for not accepting reality and handing over power to what it was obviously the new government by virtue of the will of the people. They need compliments for that. So friends and families, your brother, your friend on this, the RKs Guyana Free Media in the Raw, say thank you. A farewell, friend.